So yeah, firstly, welcome. We do have, I guess today's masterclass is as much about training as it is about spreading some really positive news about our industry. I'm sure you'll agree that I've actually certainly heard enough negative press. I think it's time to do what we can to put some positive news out there about the great things that you are doing for your clients. And when I've spoken to you all individually, I certainly hear those stories, and that's why you do what you do, because you do make a difference in people's lives. For those of you who are new to Feedsy, and there are some of you on the line today, it will be an in-depth look perhaps behind the scenes of what some advisors are doing and what you can in fact do by using something like Feedsy or Feedsy itself. So we're just going to cover quickly on how Feedsy works, just a couple of slides there. And for everyone really about our support pages. We're going to sort of recap where they are, and everything I suppose is captured in our support pages through a nice animated GIFs really showing you what we're doing. So even though there's going to be a recording today, our support pages do show you how to do things. You don't actually have to take a lot of notes. We are going to sort of add your own content, including video, and I've got a couple of perhaps mock testimonials and things that we're going to add. We're going to show you how to review Feedsy content on a weekly basis and how you can drag and drop stories, manage subscriber activity, sending your own campaigns, adjusting your story mix, and sharing to social media pages. So we're going to cover a bit in the next 60 minutes and just leave you with a couple of key takeaways, some things that, probably 4 or 5 things that can make a difference from this point on. Okay, so next page. A little bit about me, that's probably all we need to sort of show. I've been working with advisors since 1987. I love the industry, and I guess since 2011 in my own business. So I guess I know some of the traumas or the good things and the bad things about running your own business as well. But I do love financial services, and I really do want to offer my help in terms of spreading some positive news about the good things you're doing for your clients right now. I guess just on that, here's some client stories. I just don't want to sort of put this page up and just skip past it, but comments like this really make you do relevant and heartfelt, I believe. And hearing these stories make massive changes. It makes me proud of the industry and makes me admire what you do. So just a couple of stories that I've found online from some clients that we look after, and obviously in turn you look after those clients. But we would like to express our thanks for the work you've done for us over the past years. The expertise, attention to detail with which you've handled our financial affairs could not be faulted. Particularly reassuring us is our feeling of certainty and absolute integrity of your dealings with us. Your continued advice on financial planning issues has saved us significant amounts of money. May you prosper along with your clients. Now, obviously names have been changed there to protect the innocent, but that's very powerful words there, and so are the ones below that. Passion, knowledge, and a genuine interest in achieving the best for clients is what makes you a true professional financial advisor. So I think that sort of talks about the dedication to clients, business excellence, and continuing education. So they're really things that we're talking about. If every client of Feedsy, if every advisor that we can sort of help gets his message out like that over the next few weeks, month, then we start to turn the tide a little bit of getting some positive news out there about all the good work that you're doing. And the more we talk that up, I believe that we can help put a really positive difference out there. And I think importantly, when you start issuing stories like this, it makes you feel good about what you're doing, as well as helping your business. And that's part of the story as well. We need to feel good about the industry that we're in, and feel good about the difference that you're making in your clients' eyes. And hearing stories like this must make you feel good. And I'm sure you've got stories, hundreds of stories like this about the difference you've made. So that's what we're talking about today. But the mechanics of that evolves into a little bit of training about how you can use Feedsy better, with personal content like this. So the high-level strategy is how we can post once and multi-share that. So that's on your news page. We're going to sort of dive into this in a lot more detail, but how your news page then captures what we might be sending in terms of content, but importantly your stories, which might be that, that pink one there, and how it goes out to your email, socially, printed pages if you want to, and off the back of that, how people can subscribe and get more of your news and interact with your website. That's the high-level strategy of just putting some content out there and perhaps even sharing our content, but putting some of your personal stories out. So it does all start with the Feedsy Center. We're going to dive into here shortly. But I just want to sort of, before we get dive into there, I just want to show you our support pages. Let's going to drag that across for a moment, because everything we cover today is going to be under our support page. Now, if you can't find something you're looking for here, you can certainly just submit a request. And by submitting a request, we just ask you who you are and what sort of problem that you're having, and you could hit submit the request. Submit down here. And you just tap in a little bit about the problem that you might be having, and we'll fix that for you. So we are going to sort of go in shortly now and sort of just, review Feedsy stories. So, how you can sort of just review that. So, we're going to sort of have a look here, rearrange the story order. And if I click on that now, I'm going to sort of have a picture of what I'm going to show you in a moment of how I can rearrange that. And you can see the little beautiful animated GIFs here. But, how do I add a new story title and text? How do I add a hyperlink? How do I add an image? How do I add a video? So we're going to cover all of those things. But I think it's important to know that all of this information is here at your fingertips as well. So I'll just get rid of that for a moment. So the Feedsy Center is really the combination of your content and ours. It's basically the story center or the blog as to where all of our commentary comes in, expert analysis if you've actually chosen some economic updates, and importantly, all of your own material. Now, a lot of you are familiar with this screen, we've spoken about it, but it just sort of tops what we're about to sort of dive into. The Feedsy Center is where you log into every week, and we send a little reminder email, and I'll show you an example of that. You dive in here, and at the end of the week or midweek, your email is sent. You can go into your pop-up web app. All these stories are live on your blog, on your news page, and you can print PDF news articles whenever you like. So we're going to dive in here now and have a look at what that looks like and start to do some stuff. So basically I said now, every one of you, apart from those that are new to Feedsy, would have got an email like this today saying that your stories are ready to check, ready to review. And you receive that every week from us. And these got little links here to review and add stories. So clicking on that will take you into the Feedsy Center. So it's a constant reminder of how to go in there and access your stories and rearrange your stories. There's also a link to the support center as to, how do you review your stories? How do you add your own content? So we have those little help tools here as well. Every month before your newsletter is sent, we send you this email basically saying that your newsletter is about to go out. So really your marketing plan is really set up over the course of the year with lots of little reminders. And don't we love reminders? I mean, it makes every business operate, I think, if we've got a bit of a to-do list or we know what's going on. So this one here, hi Steve, the Feedsy mail is scheduled to be sent on the morning of the first Tuesday of the month. Most of you do send it on the Tuesday to avoid that public holiday, but this will be specific to when yours goes out. And again, review and add stories and access to some of the help tools there. When you click on those, you go to the Feedsy Center and you put in your unique username and password. Now here's where we're about to go into our live demo. So I'm going to sort of bring in a mock site, which is our expert news demo. So we've just logged in and we are going into the dashboard here. Now, some of you might come straight into the dashboard. Others might come into the Story Center. So when you go into the Story Center, all of the stories that are live on your site are here right now. So, and a lot of you would have those stories in your Feedsy Center today. Probably one of the first things is you can just have a quick look as to whether you like those stories or not. So you can just drag and drop those by dragging and dropping with clicking your mouse. If we wanted to have a look at what that looks like on the live site, we can just go up here and visit website. So I'm just going to right click on the visit site, and we can see what it looks like in a client's eyes. And that takes you to basically your news page where all of those stories live. And you can see here, video, money for your retirement, the Apple technology story, paying off your loans quicker, etc. If we just toggle back to there, you can see that those same stories are here. Now, say I wanted to have more women access to paid parental leave, number one, I'm just going to click and drag that to the top. If I go back in here and refresh that, you can see that that story is now number one. And the reason why that's so important is because I might have just got an alert from Feedsy saying that my story or my email is about to go out next week. And I want to put all my favourite stories at the top. And that's what I've just done. I've put that story right at the top. So other things that you might like to do here, essentially, is to add your own content. I think that sort of start to be, is really important. So we're going to sort of start to add some content now. So all we're going to do is go add new. And here's where we're going to sort of add our new personal story. And maybe it's a testimonial about what you're doing really well with your clients. Or it might even be a case study. So I'm going to open up a Word document, and that might be where I've got the case study from. So I'm just going to copy and paste this case study from Word, perhaps. And I'm then just going to paste it, right click, and paste it in here. And I can give it a title. And now we've given it a title. So what I can do now here is add some pictures. So I'm going to sort of just bring across some pictures that we've prepared earlier. And I might just have those sitting on my desktop. So I've got all those pictures sitting there in a folder or wherever it might be. So I'm just going to go like that. And I can go one of two things is add media. I'm going to go add media. And you can see all the pictures there that we send you on a weekly basis. But those are licensed to the original article. So we're going to sort of upload files. And I can select those files from anywhere. And I can either point that little button there to select files, or I can just drag and drop the picture in. And you can see that picture now comes in. And one of the great things is with the back end of Feedsy here, you don't have to resize things in Photoshop. So they can be very easily just done here. So the full size, we can just make it full size or medium or smaller. And ideally, when we import this, it's under 100 KB. Otherwise, your site will load fairly slowly. We're just going to edit that. So it's a really quick way to resize images. If they're already resized, you don't have to do this, but you can just make that 650, and this is in our support area as well. And obviously we're recording this session today, and we can scale that. And we've resized that image really, really quickly rather than having to do it in Photoshop or getting a graphic designer to do it for us. And then we can go back, and you can see how that's now under 100 KB. So really quickly, we've made that a really small file so that your emails can be opened really quickly. And we're going to insert that into the post. And we can see that picture is here. Terry and Jane, that's who they are. But if we want to override every image, we can scroll down to the bottom and have a featured image. So you can see here we can put photos in the middle of all the content of our case studies, and right at the bottom there's something called featured image. So we're going to click on featured image and maybe have another picture there. Okay, so we're going to go back to our pictures and just drag in another one. Again, that's quite a large picture, so we're going to edit that again. Scale that. And then what we've done is resize that picture, and it's really, really small again. And we're going to set the featured image this time. And that overrides everything every picture we've put into the middle of the article. Okay, so we've got a case study. We've got the information here. And as we go down, we're going to give it a category. So just keep scrolling down from top to bottom. It might be a blog that you've done. It might be also in the finance category. And we keep scrolling down, and we can either draft that, preview it. We preview that right now. The featured image is the one that we see at top. And as you scroll down, you can see our beautiful case study here. You can see the picture that we've inserted halfway down the top or the bottom of the page. And we're pretty happy with that. So we can close that tab down and we can hit publish. Now that article is now ready to be sent as an email. All that we've done so far, we've hit publish, and you might think, oh, I don't want it to go out just yet, but all we've actually done is put that onto your blog. So if we go back to stories, you can see that case study is now #1, and the Feedsy stories are all below it. If you wanted to, change where that goes, you can, or you can drag and drop that again. But because you've actually created this one, it's nice to have it right at the top. So basically, if we go back to our news page now and refresh that, you can see that the case study is now here. But imagine putting a nice client testimonial there as well. That would be fantastic. So that's that one. What I'll also do now is show you how to put a video in. So I'm going to go add new. Now, first of all, I've actually created a little video here. It's going to go video from Steve. And it might be a news update to say, welcome to this week's news, for example, which I did that a little while ago. So I'm going to go and grab a YouTube clip that I have done previously. And we're going to feed that in. So just say I've gone to YouTube, just really grab the YouTube clip. I've just pasted it in there. And you can see it's actually brought the thumbnail across. And I can actually go and put some commentary down here if I want to. But I've got the video there now. It's brought it across for me. So all I'm really going to do here now is categorize it, because I'm happy with the video thumbnail. And I'm going to categorize it with video. And if I keep scrolling down the page, it's all you need to do is the format is now video as well. Okay? Now I can preview that once again, or I can save it as a draft if I want to as well and come back to it later. If for some reason I get a power outage and my computer crashes, everything you've done to date will be saved, and the default would be a draft. It'll be drafted. I'll publish. Okay, if I go back to Expert News and refresh my page, you see that my video is now in there. Now the beautiful thing is I don't actually have to go to YouTube to watch that. I can play that here. I'll play it and the sound should come through.
Hi, Steve here. I hope you're well and you enjoy this week's news articles. A couple that I've written this week. One is about comparing social media with a service cloud.
So that was really just introducing a couple of blogs that I wrote, but I introduced them via video. And if that was you, you might say, okay, I'm going to do a little video here and just be the newsreader. But becoming the newsreader by video, you become very familiar with people. A bit like the Channel 9, Channel 7 news that you watch every week. The presenters become very familiar. So you might be saying, okay, I'm going to introduce, I've got a case study. Give people a reason to choose to read my case study or to read my testimonials. What we've also included is a video about money for your retirement. or some latest tech updates on your new iPhone 11 that's now available. So that's there. If I wanted to share each of those socially, I can do that. So I can play the video from this place, or I can actually click on that and go into the actual page, and it's nicely presented with no actual advertising around it. It can be played here, and I can actually share it socially, like just clicking on LinkedIn. If I wanted to go to my LinkedIn community, I can share in a post, or if I want to share it to Facebook. And that then will link straight through to my blog page here. Now, with sharing, because I mentioned we're going to sort of cover sharing a little bit today on Facebook, I can share that personally on my own page as it's defaulting, or I can share it on a page that I manage, which is your company page. So if I click on the page that I manage, it's now coming up Feedsy. So I can share it on my company page. This video that I'm talking about here actually talks about the @ and the hashtags, etc. So if I wanted to tag a business or tag myself, in this instance, I could just go Steve Holmes, or tag Feedsy, and I tag a business. And that's how you get wider exposure to your social media posts. So the @ symbol and a person or a business would be, isn't like an address. You actually tag that business. If I use a hashtag, it acts like a bookmark. So anyone else that's tagged or bookmarked great advice, your video will start to appear in. That's the difference between a hashtag and an @ symbol. Just a quick one on the social media and how you can get greater engagement with your posts. I'm going to close that. I'm not going to share that now. But it's a nice way to add your own content there and to add some video. So I'm going to close that one down. And if I go back to stories again, you can see now we've got a video from Steve and we've got our case study sitting here. All right, so probably the next thing I really want to do is show you how to send out your own campaigns and how to manage your subscriber list and things like that. And we'll also talk about updating your story list if you want to change some of the content that's coming through. Is there any little questions that you'd like to throw to us at the moment? You're all traveling okay? You can just sort of send them through the chat box there, or give us a thumbs up or a hands up or anything like that. But hopefully that's all resonating with you and you're following us so far. All good, thanks Tom. All right, so we're going to, from our dashboard, from our story center here, we're just going to click on dashboard. So at a very quick glance, as I said, this is a demo site. So we've only got 17 subscribers here. You'd all have more than that. And you can see here, we've had 0 unsubscribe in the last week, this month, for all time. So it gives you a real quick snapshot of what's happening. It also gives you a list of bounces and things like that. Louise says, automatically save when you go to a preview. Yes, it does. So whenever you are working on a story and you click preview, this is in relation to the stories of the videos, it will certainly save as a draft. And then you can come back to it and then publish at your will. Okay, so we're going to go into the Feedsy Mail headquarters now. Now what we've got here, for those of you who simply just, I want to say simply, that's what you've chosen to do and that's great, simply, excuse me, just automate your regular monthly newsletter. Any of the content that you've just created would need to form part of that cycle of emails that go out on that first Tuesday. And that will certainly happen if those stories are at the top when you get your alert email from us to say your newsletters are going next week. That's a great opportunity to add your content, make sure they're at the top, and then sit back and relax, and your automated newsletter will go out. For those of you that don't want to wait and you want that case study to go out as a special campaign, that's what we're going to talk about now, and then we're going to sort of talk about list and subscriber management. So we need to go to campaigns, and we've got 2 plain text and the email template here. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate those because they're really templates here. They're actually templates. So we're going to sort of say, okay, I want to duplicate this template for a campaign. So it's going to sit on that, hit that plus button. And you'll see here, Feedsy Flash template copy, which sounds a bit boring, doesn't it? So we want to make it something a little bit different than that. So we're going to click on it, and now we're going to work with this as our campaign. So we've got 3 areas, really nice and simple. 1, 2, 3. What do you want to call the campaign? What do you want to send and say? And who do you want to send it to? That's it. So we're going to start here. Edit. We're going to call this a case study Okay, so this line here is what the first line is really calling it a name that means something to you. So it could mean a case study to remember, but that's what you want it to be in the subject line of your email. So your clients will see this one. That's almost like your filing cabinet and what it means to you. But you can see here it's from the team of expert professionals, and it's going to be from that email address. So if you want it to come from Steve at Expert or Fred from Expert, you can just change that. And you say, I'm done. So now you've updated that. So now it's all about saying, okay, what do I want to say? And which stories do I want to pick? So I'm going to go and edit that now. And we've got the default here, but you can actually go in and edit that and change it. Now some of you, it's a bit of a trick, obviously you've got white writing on blue background. So the only way for it to mean anything up here, we need to really change that to black temporarily while we change it around. And you might say, yeah, we've got a few great case studies. And then we might change all of that back to black. That was white, wasn't it? Just checking that you're all with me. All right, we'll change it back to white. We're going to save changes. So now we've actually tweaked our personal message. Okay? But the photos down here are going to be what you might have sent last time. We want to update those. So we click on Manage Posts. And we can see the old pictures. And we can untick those. So they're all there for you to tick when you want to. Okay. And then you can select to tick the content that you want for this particular campaign. You can say tick Apple, tick the insurance, and that sort of thing. And some new content is there. Then you can sort of preview that particular campaign. And you go, I'm done, and I'll return to snapshot. And now the last little bit about it is to send it to people. So you can sort of go, we can remove that you know, you can edit this, and we start to pick in your Feedsy list as to who you want it to go to. And then go next. So you're really just sort of defining who you're sending it to. Now you can preview it. And you get an idea of what it's going to look like. It's pretty cool. And importantly, you can send yourself a test before you send it out. And that's how you sort of design your own campaign. With the automated ones, if I click on here, it's all about analytics, essentially. And we've got a few in here because this is a demo site, but the monthly news one, you'll just have one and it'll look like this. And you'll see, and yours look much better than this as well because it's a demo site, but the analytics is really telling us that the green is the open rates and the blue are click-through rates of how many people are reading your emails each and every month. Okay, so lists and subscribers. This is where I think a lot of you can spend maybe a little bit of time on just updating the lists and subscribers. So we're going to sort of show you how to do that. Now, to some degree, we're going through this a little bit quickly. There's a fair bit to cover today. So in your list of subscribers, we've got what's called the Feedsy list. And at the moment, we've only got 15 people on here. We're going to go into the Feedsy list and we'll see all of your clients listed here now. Now, if I wanted to go and edit John Snow, I can just go and click on John. I'll get a quick update of everything that John's actually read and shared. And if I want to edit his email address, I can just go edit and edit his email address here. I can change him from active, deleted to unsubscribed manually. If you've got a phone call to unsubscribe someone, you can do that. Birth date. Now, a lot of you, if you do have segments, you might have some of these things here, but by default, you probably wouldn't have those in your list. And you can just go save, and you've updated John Snow's records. You can go back to lists and subscribers again. Now, say we wanted to add people, either in bulk or one at a time. We just click on Add Subscribers over here. And what I'm going to do is add some people in bulk. So I've got a list here. I'll just open that list up. Now, it's just really an Excel spreadsheet. You might do an export from your current CRM. And when you do an export from your current CRM, you might have a whole lot of data. Feedsy only needs your name and email address. Unless you've got segments, of course, or dates of birth that you're currently utilizing, you've got, just need those couple of columns. You can really delete all of these columns. We don't need that imported. And in fact, we wouldn't ask for that when we bring it across. So that's what our Excel spreadsheet looks like. I might even add someone here now. So I might sort of add, Roger. It might be Roger at feedsy.info, and then save that. Okay, so I'm going to close that down now. And what I'm going to do, I've got my Excel file or CSV file, however you've got it. And when I sort of look here, I'm going to import subscribers. So I'm going to drag that into this little area. So I'm going to drag it into here. Okay, and you can see what's happened here now. So immediately, Feedsy actually assumed that it knows something. So it's got here full name. Yep, correct. So that is the full name. But just make sure, it's a bit of a double check. Email address, yep, that's the email address. So it's not any of these other things. So it is actually email address. It's assumed correctly. Date added, we're not going to worry about that. Birth, I'm not going to worry about that. But we could, it's defaulted to that, no problem. We're not going to worry about any of these things. We're going to skip all those. But if they weren't in the Excel spreadsheet to start with, it wouldn't be asking those. So now I'm going to finish adding subscribers. Okay, now we've actually got this. What it's telling us is only 2 subscribers were added successfully, bringing the total list to 17. The reason it's only added 2, and I had far more than that, is because many of them were already in here. So it hasn't added those again. There's been no duplicates added. Custom field problem. So this email address, birth date didn't recognize. Any data that you bring in here, if it doesn't recognize something, it's going to inform you so you can update it. Suppressed, these weren't added because they were already in the unsubscribed area. So their preferences have been acknowledged. They're in unsubscribed, and we're not going to add them again. Otherwise, they won't like us very much. So unchanged, these are all the people that were in there and will continue to get our email, and they're unchanged because the data was exactly the same. So all this is giving us now is a bit of a summary of what's just occurred. So if I now go back to list and subscribers, I'm now looking at 17 in my list here. If I go and view that list, it'll give me a record of when they've been updated. You can see here that Roger that we've just added and Steve at SHMD we just added about 1 minute ago. Everyone else was about 2 months ago or 6 months ago or 10 months ago or over 2 years ago, okay, when they first came on board. If you were adding just one person and you only wanted to do that manually and didn't want to worry about bringing a spreadsheet in, you could just go to add new subscribers and follow this format here. You can see here there's just an email address, comma, first name, surname. This field here is just another field. It could be date of birth, it could be age, etc. But really just we're going to add in here. So we're going to put, Fred at So I've just done it like that. And I've imported. I spelled his name wrong there, but that's okay for now. Full name and email address, finish. And you can see here we've just added Fred. That's how to do it one at a time, but far more efficient for you if you drag that spreadsheet in. So I hope that helps with that one. Okay, now I just want to sort of go, because it's pretty important, the actual support side of things, I want to go back and show you again where the support is and what we've just actually covered. So I've just gone to the Feedsy website and then I've clicked on support. And you'll see here, adding a hyperlink, which we'll do in a moment, adding images, adding a new story title and text. So you can see here, we're going to new post, we're doing the title. We're adding some content. You can do that by typing it or copy and paste. And you can sort of add bullet points and tabs and things like that. So that's a nice little spot where you can get support. Adding a video, which we did actually do from YouTube. So we recommend putting video at the front there. Then that sort of tells people straight away, you've got a video, oh, cool. And then you put an explanation of what that video is about. And again, all we did was went to the video in YouTube and we copied and pasted the YouTube clip. And we pasted it in here and it brought across the image. You can see how it just pops up there and the image comes across. You can put some text below it and then you can hit publish after you've given those categories. So everything we've just talked about, you can actually find on these support pages, which is pretty cool. Now, what I might do is I'll just show you how we, in the before we do storyMix, let's have a look here. Back here, I'll go and edit a couple of these stories. I wanted to sort of just show you how we can perhaps hyperlink something. So just for example, we want to hyperlink something within this text. We might do Terry maintains regular fitness routine. So we just click on the little hyperlink button here, see? And we can hyperlink, we can paste the URL there where we want that to go. And the link options, we can even say, if you want to be really sexy about it, we can say open in a new tab, or so it's, you don't close down what you're actually currently reading. So we can actually tick that box to open it in a new tab. We can put bullet points like that. This becomes a little bit of a word processor. And we can actually do tabs. We can indent things as well. And when you start to indent things, it just really changes the way it looks quite nicely. I'll just do a preview. We start to emphasize things like that. Louise, is there any extra for? Yeah, maybe I can just sort of talk to you, Louise, about that. I think I just need to check what you're on there, but there are different packages for having the ability to send out the campaigns. Okay, so what I want to do now is just show you how to update your storyMix. I think it's an important one too, because some of you might not have done that for a little while. So on our support page, we've got storyMix. I can just show you that, but you go into that support page, you scroll down to storyMix, and when you click on that, there's 3 very easy little areas to follow. So you update, you tell us basically your business name and who you are, and your email address and phone number, just in case we need to get in touch with you. Then you go next, and then basically it says, okay, would you like inspirational quotes added? We're starting to add those now, which is great to share. And you might say yes, and then you go next. Now, basically, your storyMix, depending on what, whether you're on a light plan, only one story, or a full Feedsy plan with 10 categories, you can start to pick between light and normal. And then when you're on the full content feed, you actually get options of having videos, explainer videos sent to us. Now, if you're on our full content plan and haven't got the video option, it might be a case of going in here and just ticking that money education video explainers. And then you can go through and adjust your storyMix just by unticking those green ones and ticking other green ones and then hitting submit. And that will change your storyMix. So it's really easy, and I think worthwhile for really doing that, because it sort of puts you in control of what you're seeing every week, and you know your clients better than anyone, so you can pick that content. So just to recap where that is, so if you go into our support pages again, and just keep scrolling down, and it's just on the right here somewhere, storyMix, how to change my storyMix. And if you click on that, it'll give you a little explanation here, and you click on that, and we'll go straight into those screens that we've just sort of seen on my presentation. So nice, easy one there. And you can do that anytime. There's no extra cost for obviously changing the storyMix. You can do that whenever you like. Are there any sort of little questions that you want to sort of put through to the chat box at the moment? I'm more than happy to sort of take and answer a few of those questions. So all travelling okay? Let me think here now. One thing I might just want to recap too is basically exporting your subscriber list. I might just sort of touch on that. Some of you might want to update it that way. Okay. Louise. Sorry, I thought I might have said that, but yeah, there are different. With Feedsy, there's 3 different levels of subscriptions, if you like. There's a basic one, which is a communicator, which has got the regular automated monthly email service, and then the campaigner, which allows you to drive campaigns. So not that one, Louise. The saving one, yeah, everything does automatically save. Even if you go to preview, it does save when you do a preview. So everything saves in draft. All good. Okay, so I'm just going to go into show you how to export some subscribers, because that might be beneficial to you, just to help clean up your data. And that's probably somewhere where many of you may want to spend a little bit of focus. So I just want to bring that screen in again. So we're under list and subscribers. I didn't cover this before, apologies. But we're in our Feedsy list. And over here, we can actually do export. So we can export your list. If I click on export now, it'll ask me who I want to export. So I can export active up here, bounced, unsubscribed, and that sort of thing. So what it could be a good idea is if you want to export all your bounced subscribers and then update them. And that will refresh them all. And you can also choose what data you export. So you can choose email address, name, birthday, that sort of thing. Many of you will just have email address and name and maybe date of birth perhaps. That's a nice easy way to export them, and then you can play around with your list and then bring them in like we did in bulk. All right. Now one thing I wanted to show you as well, just going to go to dashboard, go back into the headquarters a minute, and show perhaps a different template that we've got. We're on under campaigns. Last time I showed you a plain text, the Feedsy Flash template, which actually looks a lot like your normal monthly newsletter. We've also got a plain text one. So if you're doing a little campaign, we can duplicate that again. I'll just show you what I mean by the difference. Some of you do actually want a different look and feel. If I very quickly go in here and edit that, we can see how it's very different. Like it's just got a brief intro from you. You might have a picture, and we can actually load personal content. So it actually looks like you're doing a campaign that's a little bit different to your normal monthly newsletter. So once again, we can go and edit the text in here and say whatever you like, and then hit save. We can edit the picture by clicking on that little button, and we can edit the link, we can remove the link, we can remove the image or add another image here. Hit save. So this is driving a campaign again. We can actually load posts, and we can have them display in numerous different ways. So we've got, in this particular one, we can have links. And you can see some of the news stories that we've recently added and now coming in here for our campaign when we're going to sort of promote the case studies and the video. So we're going to untick them because we don't want the list format. See, I've just unticked them and go done. I'm going to go down here, and I really like that view because it's a little bit different. I'm going to go into Manage Posts and untick that one, and I'm going to put my video in there and also my case study in there. So it's brought those stories across. And then I'm going to hit done. To load this other one is the big pictures. Okay, so you've got a choice of those three different options of how you want the campaign to go out. I was going to put up and tick those, so untick. So you can see how we're driving campaigns. You just really tick boxes when you send those out. Then we're going to hit preview, and then I'll see a preview of the email, and then I'm done. Okay, so I'm going to send perhaps or define the recipient. So again, this hasn't got any here, so I'm going to send it to my full list of 18, and then go next. And then all those steps are done, 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to send myself a test. I might just send myself a test here at Feedsy. Send the test email. Well, it should come through very soon. You can see that's the email I've just received. So I guess from here, I really probably wanted to, now we've got about 8 minutes to go, it's just really to do a bit of a recap and to see if there's any sort of final questions. So we just sort of covered updating your story mix there. So regular email newsletters, it's certainly really important to keep your brand in front of existing and prospective clients. You know, credibility, educate your audience. But I guess really today is communicate what you do for your clients. And that's really what I want to try and help you with now is how many testimonials and case studies do you have that we can help you communicate it out to your audience. So I'd love to be able to help you do that because I really want to spread some positive news about what you're doing. And not only is it personal content from you, it really, I think, it helps you to hear those stories again right now. It's been a pretty tough year, pretty tough, probably over a year. It helps you to sort of reflect on what your clients think about you. And by physically going through this exercise, reading and hearing about what you're doing for your clients once more, you know, really makes you feel proud about what you're doing. And also it does wonders for your business because nobody promotes your business like a current client who thinks the world of what you're doing. It's far more powerful than what you say about yourself. So, you know, getting those testimonials will do wonders for your business. And I think wonders for, you know, what you're doing yourself. And that's what I admire about what you stand for and what I admire about advice. I absolutely believe in advice myself. I do have a financial advisor, and you know, the value that they've provided is amazing. So I really want to help you communicate what you do for your clients. Today was a bit about training, behind the scenes of Feedsy. I hope that I'll be able to reflect that okay on screen, but importantly showing you where the support tools are and support pages are. But it's how you use it as well, and not just the automated content, but how you can personalize some messages and communicate what you do for clients. I think that's probably a lot of you we can take the next step in terms of where you go with your business. So just some ideas on original content topics. You know, we talked about case studies, testimonials, impact scenarios, education, identifying pain points. You know, it's what your customers find hard. What's really hard for them to do? Is it basic cash flow? You know, start writing stories about that. Anything that's really difficult. Do clients often say, you know, if I was only 20 years younger and I sort of came to see you, you know, write about that. If you're getting some feedback about, gee, I was a bit scared about coming to see you first, write about that because you don't have to be scared. Or I thought I needed a lot of money before I came to see an advisor. You don't have to have a lot of money. You just have to have the goal or passion to start putting something away. So you know, perhaps write about that. You know, charity and goodwill. You know, talk about some of the you know, morning teas or how you're helping people or how you're involved in charities. You know, talk about that sort of thing as well. It goes a lot towards trust, about what your team's doing. So you know, use some of the tools we've talked about today to sort of add more personal content because that will drive clicks and will drive engagement with your regular newsletter. Don't be afraid to tell people that you're doing some ongoing education because that's what's in it for them. The result of you doing that, you know, means that they foresee it as you keeping up your professional standards. So it doesn't hurt that you attend the PD day and take a bit of a selfie and say we're here with like-minded people, you know, learning about quality advice, learning about needs of clients. So you know, don't be afraid to talk about those sort of things. So key takeaways with a couple of minutes to go. Update your client list. You know, do a fresh upload into Feedsy from your CRM. Update email addresses, so those ones that have bounced. There's probably something wrong there. There's more than likely you've updated your CRM and possibly not Feedsy. So updating your client list will actually fix that number 2 as well. I can't reinforce this enough. You know, create personal content. We're getting some. You might have seen a post that Gavin wrote recently about the readership. How Feedsy clients are far outweighing the average readership of clicks and opens. But if you added personal content, that would go even higher again. So that's fantastic. Can't reiterate enough how important adding some personal content is. Start sharing content socially. So when you start getting your own articles and your own videos, you know, share that onto Facebook and LinkedIn. We just sort of showed you briefly how to do that. And I did one recently by catching up with a friend. We just had coffee, and I tagged his business I sort of talked about the efficiencies of what he does and correlated that to what my business does. And there was no more than a catch-up, and that sort of went a long way with just getting brands out there and like-minded people how we think about helping business. We're here when you need us. So link, support at Feedsy. Here's how you can submit a request, log a call, or if you want sort of just some one-on-one coaching, give me a call. I know some people on the line right now. Give us some call from time to time. Hey, Steve, how do I do this? Can you just sort of give us a bit of a recap, or what are your thoughts on this particular case study? Can you send it through and have a bit of a read over? Whatever it is, I'm really wanted to help. And I guess today was a way of proactively trying to reach you and interact with you a little bit more and to help, because I know it is a tough time, and I know what you're doing is really, really important, and you should feel proud of the difference you're making in your clients' lives. So that's probably a thank you from me to all the financial advisors out there, because it has been tough, and without you, a lot of people would be doing it pretty tough also. But that's all from me today. If you do have any more questions, please feel free to send them through to me. Tomorrow you will get an email from us with the opportunity to either ring or to make a time to catch up one-on-one. But anyone that does want a recording of today's session, we will upload that and send you a link to it as well. I'll stop the session there, and once again, I'll thank you for attending today. All right, bye for now.